Most seniors assume dark spots, uneven tone, and hyperpigmentation are simply part of aging. But what if they are not? A major longitudinal study from the Tokyo Institute of Dermatological Science, conducted on more than 10,000 adults over 60, found that nearly 60% of persistent age-related discoloration is driven by disrupted melanin regulation rather than age itself. And that is something we can influence with simple daily choices. So, in today's episode of the Senior Health Podcast, Japan's oldest doctor is giving you the #1 vitamin tip that will literally brighten your skin and help reduce dark spots. In fact, he is sitting in front of me right now. Doctor, what will our listeners get from this episode?
This episode is another true game changer for seniors, John. I will reveal the overlooked vitamin signal that almost no one explains clearly to seniors, as well as the everyday foods that nourish melanin naturally and support clearer, calmer, more even skin from within. And to everyone listening, get ready. You will hear the most valuable tip I know when it comes to overcoming hyperpigmentation and dark spots.
I cannot wait to hear it. I also read here that a long-term study from the Tokyo Institute of Nutrition followed seniors who increased skin protective nutrients in their meals just 3 times a week, and many of them saw noticeable reductions in dark spots and uneven tone within months. It is so fascinating how the skin responds when we give what it needs.
Fascinating indeed. We could change way more about our appearance if we just had the right knowledge. But before we start, I need some interaction from everyone in the comments. Please comment a 1 if you are dealing with dark spots, uneven tone, or pigmentation on your skin, and comment a 2 if you have no experience but want to stay ahead of it as you get older.
That will give us some great insight and help everyone see they are not alone. I know many seniors who had these problems sooner than they expected. So let's dive in. What is this #1 vitamin tip everyone needs to hear about?
John, before I reveal that tip, we must begin with the truth most seniors never hear. Dark spots are not random, and they rarely appear overnight. They grow from tiny shifts inside the skin that start after 60, when the cells that guide pigment lose both strength and protection. And once that protection weakens, even small triggers can leave marks that linger far longer than they once did.
I hear that, and it makes so much sense when you see how uneven tone slowly creeps in with age. It feels less like a flaw and more like a signal the skin is struggling with something deeper.
Exactly, and one of the biggest forces behind that struggle is oxidation. As the skin ages, it loses a layer of antioxidant defenses that once kept pigment balanced and calm. Without that shield, melanocytes react faster, producing more melanin even from mild stress like light exposure, pollution, or inflammation. It is the same process that browns a sliced apple, only happening quietly inside the skin of an older adult.
It is remarkable how one small internal shift can change so much about how the skin behaves, especially after 60.
Yes, and the key here is that oxidation does not just darken the skin. It teaches the melanocytes to stay reactive, almost as if they no longer know when to rest. This is why age spots return so easily, and why even gentle sunlight can deepen discoloration. And if oxidation continues unchecked, the spots become stubborn, sticking to the skin the way a burn mark clings to wood.
That makes me wonder what protects those cells in the first place, and why those defenses fall so quickly as we age.
We can explore that next, because the answer is the beginning of everything we must rebuild. And once our listeners understand this missing piece, the path to brighter, calmer skin becomes surprisingly clear.
It feels like we are approaching the root cause, not just the surface changes. And I want our listeners to hear this with real clarity, because it already reshapes how we think about dark spots. So tell us, what controls this entire pigment system, and why does it shift so dramatically after 60?
John, The entire pigment system is guided by one quiet conductor, vitamin D. It is not just a bone vitamin, it is the signal that tells melanocytes when to activate and when to rest. After 60, our skin makes far less of it, even with the same amount of sunlight, so the balance begins to tilt. And once that rhythm weakens, melanin becomes easier to trigger and harder to calm.
That's fascinating, because most seniors think of vitamin D only through the lens of bone health. Hearing you connect it directly to pigmentation already reframes the whole topic.
Yes, and what I see often is that seniors do not lose control of melanin because their cells misbehave. They lose control because the guiding vitamin is missing. When vitamin D levels fall, the melanocytes act without coordination, producing pigment in quick bursts instead of measured cycles. That is why older adults develop dark spots in patterns that feel unpredictable, even if nothing in their routine has changed.
It really helps to know there is a biological reason for that unpredictability, something deeper than just aging skin.
Exactly. And the key here is understanding that vitamin D does far more than trigger pigment. It protects the cell from oxidative stress. It steadies the melanin response, and it supports the DNA repair that keeps spots from returning. Without enough of it, the skin becomes reactive, almost jumpy, and even mild sunlight or irritation can deepen discoloration.
That makes me wonder how seniors can realistically restore that balance, because sunlight alone clearly is not enough anymore.
We can go there next, because restoring that balance begins with one simple shift most people never think about, and once we understand it, the whole mystery behind dark spots suddenly looks very different.
It really does feel like we have all missed something essential. So what is that shift, and how does it change the skin's ability to stay even and calm?
Well, vitamin D protects the melanocytes in a way no cream can match, because it slows the oxidation that pushes them into overproduction, and when seniors lose this protection, the melanin becomes uneven and far more reactive.
It makes sense why the skin starts shifting so quickly once that internal shield weakens.
Yes, and when vitamin D is steady, the cells calm down and stop releasing pigment in patches. That is why even small improvements can brighten the skin more reliably than avoiding sunlight altogether.
That actually brings a lot of comfort, because it means the body still knows how to recover. And it makes me wonder how seniors should rebuild that protection safely, since deficiency is so common.
I will explain that next, because the way to support these cells is much gentler than people expect. So please stay with me.
It already feels like you're pointing toward something practical, something they can apply today. And I want to know exactly what that step looks like so no one feels lost when they try it.
You will love this. The most practical first step is a simple yogurt mask, which can dissolve the darkened surface cells without harming the skin beneath. And everyone will appreciate it because it works quietly and not harshly.
That already sounds kinder than most treatments people are used to hearing about.
Yes, and the key here is the lactic acid in the yogurt, which loosens the bonds between those oxidized cells. It allows the skin to shed what has overstayed, revealing the calmer tone underneath, and the probiotics help soften inflammation that often makes dark spots look even darker.
I like how accessible that feels, something someone at home could try without feeling intimidated, and it gives them a sense of participating in their own healing, not waiting for a miracle cream.
Of course, and when seniors apply it once or twice a week, the change feels gradual but reassuring. The skin becomes smoother, more even, and far less reactive to small triggers. Many find that this gentle approach builds trust in their skin again, and that confidence matters more than people realize.
And it is encouraging, too, because it means improvement doesn't require painful treatments. It starts with treating the skin with more respect.
Exactly, and the yogurt offers something deeper as well. Its acidity mirrors the skin's natural pH, which keeps the protective barrier intact while lifting away discoloration. When that barrier strengthens, oxygen damage slows and melanin begins to settle again. And that is when seniors finally notice steady brightening instead of temporary changes.
Hearing that makes the whole idea feel much more practical. It's simple, inexpensive, and it works with the skin instead of against it.
Yes, and this is just one part of the picture. Do not confuse this with the number one tip of this episode. I will reveal this very soon. First, we have to understand that true stability comes from what you feed the body, and not only what you place on the surface. I want to discuss the best foods for hyperpigmentation, John.
We are all curious what foods matter most, especially if they help build that protection from within. But please keep it brief since we cannot wait for this number one tip you are about to reveal.
Of course, John, food matters because antioxidants inside the body calm the very cells that create melanin. And when seniors nourish those cells, the skin becomes far less reactive to the stresses that darken it.
That makes so much sense, especially when creams alone never seem to solve the problem.
Yes, and the antioxidants from real foods strengthen the skin's natural defenses in a way no surface treatment can. They rebuild the inner balance that keeps pigmentation steady as we age.
So what kinds of foods are we talking about here?
Of course, John, a beautifully simple place to begin is with salmon or sardines because they deliver vitamin D in the exact form the body absorbs most easily. And the omega-3 oils in these fish quiet the inflammation that makes dark spots deepen over time. When seniors eat them even a few times a week, the skin often responds with a calmer, more even tone.
That already sounds so approachable, and I know many people listening will feel relieved it is not something exotic or complicated. And it makes sense that nourishment working through the bloodstream would reach the melanocytes more effectively than any cream.
Yes, and I see this often. When the body finally receives steady vitamin D from food, the pigment cells stop overreacting to stress. That steadiness creates a healthier baseline before any other remedy is even added.
It feels like it gives people a genuine place to start.
Exactly, and the beauty of salmon or sardines is that they help restore balance without forcing the body. They simply support what the skin is already trying to do. For many seniors, this is the first moment they notice their pigment calming again.
That alone could give so many people hope that change is still possible after 60.
Hope and a direction, because this first food creates momentum for everything that follows, and the next food continues that momentum in a way most seniors find surprisingly doable.
I like where this is going, and now I'm genuinely curious what that next step looks like.
Next is eggs. Eggs make a perfect second step because they give seniors a steady, gentle source of vitamin D along with antioxidants that protect the pigment cells from stress. And since most people already have them at home, adding one egg a day can quietly support the skin without changing a routine. Many seniors notice their tone looking calmer when this small habit becomes consistent.
That feels reassuring because it is simple enough for anyone to start immediately, and it does not require special products. And the idea that daily nutrients can change how the skin responds to stress makes this feel very possible.
Yes, and what I appreciate about eggs is their reliability. They provide vitamin D even on days when the sun is weak or the skin does not activate it as well as it used to. And that steadiness helps the melanocytes behave with more balance and less overreaction.
It is surprising how such a familiar food can influence something as stubborn as dark spots.
Familiar and quietly powerful. When seniors pair eggs with the fish we mentioned earlier, the body receives two different forms of support that work together. That combination builds a rhythm that makes real change much easier for the skin.
It really makes me wonder what completes this trio. because it feels like something special is coming next.
There is, John. The final food is one very few people outside Japan ever consider, yet it has protected the skin of older adults in my country for generations. And once seniors hear what makes it unique, many understand why Japanese skin ages so differently.
That already sounds fascinating, and now I am genuinely curious what this traditional food is and why it works so well.
Of course, John. In Japan, we often turn to sun-dried fish or fermented dishes like shiokara, because the drying and fermenting concentrate vitamin D in a way fresh fish cannot. For seniors, even a small portion can create a steady rise in the vitamin that keeps pigment cells calm and responsive, and it has been part of our longevity traditions for centuries, long before we understood the science behind it.
It is fascinating how something so traditional can have such a modern explanation, and I love that it is a food many people have never even considered.
Yes, and what makes it remarkable is how efficiently it delivers that signal to the skin. When vitamin D is this concentrated, the body receives a clear message to stabilize melanin rather than overproduce it. It is a very natural way to support the pigmentation system without relying on harsh treatments.
It really does sound like a missing piece seniors have overlooked.
A missing piece and an accessible one. Even if someone does not enjoy the stronger flavors, small amounts mixed into soups or broths still offer meaningful benefit. And I have seen many older adults brighten their complexion simply by adding it twice a week.
That makes me realize how powerful these everyday choices can be when used consistently after 60.
They become even more powerful, John, when combined with the timing strategy I am about to share. Because the real secret is not only what you eat, but how the body receives the signal each day. And understanding that timing is what transforms everything.
So there is still one more step that ties all of this together. And now I am really wondering what that daily timing looks like and why it matters so much.
John, the number one vitamin tip is that seniors must give their skin a steady, predictable dose of vitamin D at the same time every single day. And when the body receives that rhythm, the melanocytes finally calm down and stop releasing pigment in bursts. This is what resets what I call the melanin stability cycle.
It's incredible how gentle that sounds, yet how powerful the effect becomes once the rhythm is established. What time in the day would be best?
In the morning, when the body naturally expects its light-driven signal. But the key here is consistency, not intensity. Many seniors try large doses once in a while, but the skin does not respond to irregular signals. It responds to a daily pattern, a quiet repetition that tells the pigment system it is safe again.
So you are saying that it is the timing that turns the whole system around, not just the vitamin itself.
Exactly, John. Even a small amount taken at the same hour each day can shift decades of imbalance back toward clarity. And once that rhythm stabilizes, the skin gradually stops producing those stubborn dark spots, almost as if it remembers how to be calm again.
That truly changes everything, especially for seniors who thought their skin tone was already set in stone.
It is never set in stone. The moment the daily rhythm begins, the cycle resets, and the transformation starts quietly from within.
That is the moment seniors realize their skin is not aging out of control, it is simply waiting for the right signal. So if you completed this episode, like this video, and let us know in the comments what skin topic we should discuss next. Oh, and watch this next video right now.
Yes, please.
We've picked this one especially for you.